after.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. As I'm sure you can tell by now, I am not Danny. However, I can confirm he is safe and well and certainly not locked in my back cupboard so I could take over his show for an hour, maybe. Today what we're going to do is we're going to go over a few things. I've got some guests in the background waiting. Look, this is my first time doing this, so you are going to have to forgive me if I make mistakes. But look, if you can look after me, I'll do my best to look after you. So what I'll do is I'll bring in the guests straight away. So today we've got the ever direct Dietrich. Maybe if Spurs were a little bit more direct, we'd win some games. We've also got the ever feisty Mia and the Brummy in the know, Mr. Matthew. How are we doing, guys? You all right?
Good. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Still getting over the Christmas hangover, but yeah, just fine. How are you, Matt? How are you, Mia?
Yeah, good, Frank. Apart from not knowing what day of the week it is, it always baffles me when this happens. The bank holidays mess with my head, and these days I'm like, what day is it?
Yeah, I can totally understand that. What about you, Matt? How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, Benj. Just pleased with the 3 points, not so much the performance, but I was dreading watching the game. I was dreading it, but if you'd have said to me 3 points away at Crystal Palace, I'd have bitten your hands off. So all good.
Sure. Yeah, we take it, right? Well, look, I'll start us off. So ideally, I just want to know everyone's initial thoughts on the game. For me, look, listen, a win is a win. You know, Archie the Grey, did he transcend into Archie the White? Not really. I can tell he does have something in common with Gandalf. Neither of them can pass. Look, listen, the game was scrappy. We got the 3 points, and that's the main thing. But I'll say this much. For me, watching it, there was very little press resistance from our players, which I think is a huge issue. You know, I feel like we're really predictable in possession. Again, causes issues. And I feel like, and I don't know if you guys agree with me here, I feel like there's an invisible line that we cross in the attacking third where the players forget they're footballers and they just seem to have no clue. Dietrich, I'll come to you first, mate. What were your thoughts on the game?
Okay, wait. Forgetting my bias with Frank, because you know my thoughts with this guy. I've always said, for me, I don't care about the performance, I just care about the points. And points are points, I'm happy with that. But my issue is, every time we cross the halfway line, Kudos, it's like he forgets that there's green grass in front of him, so let's go and beat his man. And it feels like the players are instructed to not, like some of the midfielders are instructed not to go beyond the halfway and like protect the back line. And I feel like, me personally, I'm not saying this as a bias, we got lucky this game. Because Crystal Palace could not shoot, especially with that young kid they had, like the number 55.
Yeah,
look, a win is a win, I'm happy. But if we're talking just about performance, it was absolutely disgusting. And most of our, let's say, senior players have been extremely disappointed with them.
Have you got specifics there? Give me some names you're thinking of.
I think Poro this season has been horrendous. That's just personal opinions. Kolo Moani, I'm just not impressed with him at the moment. And Lucas Bergvall, I've never seen a midfielder that cannot pass. That's always ice skating on the pitch. And as much as I don't like him, Richarlison, but he's scoring goals. Other than staying outside, he is scoring goals. So I have to give him props. I have to. That's all I gotta say.
No, fair enough. Do you know what? For me, I'll come back to what you said about Moani. I can't help but feel that what's happening with him is quite situational. Look, if you're going to bring in a striker to a club that hasn't played football for 3 months, right, and then it has the misfortune to go ahead and get himself injured for a further month, I don't know. Part of me feels sorry for him, but I suppose you are in the Premier League. You do have to be a big boy and you do have to show up. I just feel he needs a bit more time to be sharp. I wish at this point he was left in the striker position, the same as Richarlison is, for time. And, you know, I don't know. Like I said, I feel a little bit sorry for Moani. What about you, Matt? How do you feel about the game?
I think pretty much like Dietrich. I think the result was more important than the performance. And it's interesting that the listening across the fan base has mixed with it. Some are saying that's all we could expect with the players we've got. I don't accept that. Some are saying, Frank's finally starting to get, his I don't accept that. I think Crystal Palace had 62, 63% possession of the ball, and I think they didn't quite know what to do with it. I think they're used to the opposition having most of the ball and they hitting them on the break. But he actually he got hoodwinked by Tottenham actually saying, no, you can have the ball. We'll park the bus. And we played on percentages. So was I surprised that we scored from a throw in or corner? No. Look, let's take the 3 points and move on. But I think we are in a huge transitional season. I'm not sure we're going to get out of that transition because I'm not sure we're going to be able to string enough results together when the performances are so bad. So I think we're in a transition because I just can't see us being able to sustain 3 matches of any sort of consistency. So take the win. Let's see what happens against Brentford. But you know what's going to happen if we stink out against Brentford and lose. The fan base are going to come after him again. So happy, but not happy.
No, fair enough. No, I can go with that. I mean, it's funny. I think currently right now we're 5 points or 4 points off being top 5. However, it's so tight for us at the moment that if we don't string a couple wins together, we could be in a bit of trouble, So it's kind of, it's a nightmare up or down. I will say one thing though. You're right about that transition period. Do you feel like the fans are willing to accept that is the case, that we are in a transition period? Things were never going to go smooth from the outset.
I think it depends on who you ask. I mean, if you're talking from a YouTube point of view, there are definitely team defense Frank. There's certain YouTubers who are, but there's a but. Every time there's a critical analysis of Frank, there's a but. What about this? What about that? So I think we're so divided as the fan base. I think that the Frank outers, I don't think they've seen enough to become Frank in. You could argue, should they be Frank out? He's only been in there 5 months. For me, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure where this ends, because if we finish 10th, 9th, 11th, 12th, is that going to satisfy the fan base with this level of football? I'm not sure.
See, I think there are elements of realism here. I do think we need to be realistic, because I think, with this whole transitional period, I do think you've got to take into consideration the manner that Frank has come in. Because let's be honest, that cup win we got, very much papered over the cracks. Very much. I mean, no, they weren't cracks. They were fucking chasms. So, I you know what I mean? It's one of them. So, I can't help but feel bad for Frank in a way. And look.
Why should you, Benji, sorry to cut you off. Why should you feel bad for him? He's getting paid. I'm sorry. I'm just being fair.
No,
he's getting paid millions and millions and millions of pounds. Working on one of 8 million, which is a lot. Working on one of the top 6 clubs. He signed off on the contract. Nobody forced him to. So he knew what he was working on. And the conditions and even the circumstances that came with it. That's why I can't feel bad. Because he took on that challenge, and that's on him.
No, but do you think at this stage of his Spurs career, it's fair that people are talking about binning him off already?
Yes.
Do you think he was prepared for that sort of pressure?
For me, the biggest mistake you can make as a coach is when he called out the fans. When you do that, that's when you're creating a civil war at Spurs.
Right, so I might be the only Spurs fan who thinks that's absolute dog shit. I'm sorry, he wasn't calling the fans out. He called out a specific section. And then Spurs fans get their butt hurt. And, he's talking about... No, he's not. You don't boo. I mean, look, at least in my fucking opinion, you don't boo your own player like rival fans in the middle of a game. Out of every other player at that time, you're booing Vicario. Richarlison is on the same
Yes,
pitch. That to me blows my mind. But
no, I get it. But as a coach, are you allowed to speak up with the fan base? Because if you're winning and then the fan base still criticize you, then you can question it. But you're not winning. You're not doing anything special. For example, look at what's his name, Conte. He said, yes, I agree with the fans booing the players because they're paying their hard-earned money. And look at the shit we're displaying to them. There's a big difference. Frank has no right with his, with his condescending comments. That's just my opinion. Like, you haven't achieved anything. You're not a big dog in this game. Like, calm down a bit.
I think you're fucking harsh there, but fair enough. Thank you very much, Luke. I appreciate that. Anyone who's not subscribed to Spotlight on Spurs, please do. It's a great show. A lot of time for Luke. He's a good guy. No, look, again, for me, I just find it difficult because I understand. I've looked at the bigger picture, as it were, and I know a lot of Spurs fans do, but I can't help but feel, given the and it's a big ask, to get us firing on all cylinders straight away. I just feel the time he's had at Spurs, and it's only been 4 months, guys. 4 months is not enough time to do a great deal, considering what sort of situation we're in as a club right now. I'm just going to throw that out there. Whether people agree or disagree, I don't know. But look, I'm not one of those people that are, that's a frank sympathizer. He does things wrong. We've all seen it. I mean, Jesus, that game against Forest, leaving out Paulinho and playing Bergvall on the left. What was he thinking? I don't know. I can't, it's hard to stick up for him with decisions like that, But at the very same time, I can't help but I just feel like us as a fan base have been a bit harsh on him. That's all. But, look, I take your point entirely. Look, what I was going to do is I was going to move on to just a review of the players during the game. So, despite the fact it was a bit of a poor game, bit ragtag, I do think there was a couple of half-decent performances. So I want to start off with Vic. Okay, what did you guys think of Vic? And if you want, give a rating.
Who goes first?
Yeah, you go for it, mate.
Okay. For me, Vic didn't have to do much because, once again, Crystal Palace couldn't shoot on target to save their lives.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll give him props, sorry, every cross from Crystal Palace, he came and cashed it. He went and cashed the ball and tried to calm things down. So that's a big positive. For once, Vicario did it. But other than that, he didn't have to do much. So I'll give him a solid, because we won, I'll give him a solid 6.57.
Yeah, fair play. What about you, Matty?
I didn't think he had a lot to do. But I think he came, especially in the second half, he came and caught a few crosses and balls into the box, which is nice to see. I like Vicario. I think he's an instinctive goalkeeper. If it's close and he's got cat reflexes, but I think the basic parts of his game lets him down, which is his distribution on the ball. I think his decision making at times lets him down. But I think if it's quick, as a flash ricochet, I think he's one of the best goalies in the league at getting his hands on things.
Yeah, I agree. But
I think he reminds me, he's a better version of Aurelio Gomez. Where do you remember Gomez would make unbelievable saves and then something basic, he'd fluff his lines. He's a better version of Gomez for me. So 7 out of 10, not a lot to do.
I'm going to be very basic on this. For me, I'm going to go 6 out of 10. Like you boys are saying, he didn't have a great deal to do, but what he did all right. All right, we move on to the man of the hour, Pedro Porro. Where are your thoughts there, boys?
Horrendous. 0. No, honestly, I'll give him a 1 out of 10 because he put on his kit properly. He was absolutely horrendous. Couldn't cross, couldn't shoot, couldn't pass. This is the worst season I've seen Pedro Porro in a Spurs at Spurs. Honestly, this is his worst year ever. I don't know what to do with him anymore, but like you can tell he's knackered and he needs a break.
Okay, no, fair enough. Fair enough. What would you give him then? A 1?
1, because he put on his kit properly.
Okay, all right. Well done, Pedro. All right, Matty, what you got for it?
I think he probably could do with a spell on the bench for me. I think he did. If I understand this right, the first goal that was VAR ruled out, that was his cross. I've got that right with Richarlison.
Yes, fantastic pass, by the way.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to see the good in everybody. So I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. But I thought his 1v1 defending was poor. I think he's at the moment he seems like he wants to pick fights with players instead of doing his job. I don't know if you felt that, Benj, but he seems like he wants to get in people's face all the time instead of just do your job. Just get up and do your job. You know? And that's almost deflecting from you're getting skinned. So you want to pick a fight with somebody because you're getting skinned. So 4 out of 10. I think if we are a club that wants to progress, I think you get another left back and you let him duke it out with Spence for the right back position. At the moment, he seems the automatic choice because Adogi can't string 2 games together. So 4 out of 10.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Do you know what? For me, Porro was shocking in that first half. However, I do think he picked it up slightly in the second. And to be fair, I know that goal was offside, but that was one hell of a pass. Yeah, for me, I'll probably go with you, Matty. I genuinely think he was probably a 4, maybe a 5 at a push. I don't know. Right, Mia, as soon as you've come back, I wanted to go back to the original question just quickly and we'll get back to it. What were your thoughts on the game as a whole, Mia?
Poor game, points that were needed. Like I think that both sides were really poor. That they couldn't score a goal for love nor money. So they had a lot of the ball and a lot more looked like they were going to score, but they didn't. And they were quite poor when it came to that. But I think we were really poor. That first half, we had another XG of 0.0 something. I don't think we had a shot on target. So we were really poor. The second half, I don't think we were no better. The best I think we were the final 10 minutes, 8 minutes maybe, when we made changes. I thought Wilson Odobert came on and really did well. He was taking on his man, shots outside the box. Feels like we've forgotten what those are. So I do think that he did well when he came on and we looked a bit more feisty, but they were tired. So it looked like we looked a lot better than what we were because they were tired legs. But that's the only time that we actually looked like we were going to attack. So we were a bit fortunate in the way that we got away with getting the points. And yes, we could have scored because we had 2 marginal offsides. But I still think if we got a 3-0 win, I think it still would have been quite a fortunate 3-0 win, not a convincing one. That's how I see it.
So you almost feel like it was given to us rather than earned. Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, yeah, they kind of gave it to us because they didn't really do well enough. And then we managed to score from a set piece. So it wasn't like we played like we were trying to win that game. It just felt like we just so happened to stumble and fall. And oh, look, we scored a goal. That's what it kind of felt like. It didn't ever felt like we were really on it. Like I say, until that last 10 minutes, maybe 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I can see your point. It's I very much agree with you. To be honest, it was a strange game to say the least. But it would have been nice. Do you know what I've said previously? It would be nice to see Spurs beat a team that shows up. I feel like we're not competitive enough. You know, the only sort of teams that we seem to beat, they don't really show up, and I feel like we get a bit lucky. But I'll move on to Els. Ellie, welcome to the show. What's your thoughts?
I reiterate what Mia said. We just weren't at the races, really. We were bloody lucky. That's how I see it. Because we were too pragmatic, passing sideways and backwards. And we got lucky with the goal. It landed on Archie Gray's head miraculously. The 2 offsides, yeah, you can say we were unlucky, but they were both offside. You can see that. But I thought Palace gave us a game. I think they did turn up for most of the game. But like Mia said, they had tired legs because they'd played Arsenal in that 1-1 draw and
Yes,
then they lost on
absolutely.
penalties. And they did look tired, and we sort of got more grips because we put fresh legs on. And like Mia said as well, Odegaard was very good. And shooting outside the box, it's like strange for us. Why don't we shoot outside the box? Go for a worldy goal like we used to. That's what gets fans excited. And we don't do it. We just don't do it. And it's so negative, our play. Our play is boring. Honestly, I watch us and I despair. I really do despair
Ellie, I
because we've
said it a
got no
moment ago.
continuity in our play.
No, I said it a moment ago. It's like there's like an invisible line in the final third where players just forget their footballers. It's shocking. You're absolutely right. There is no continuity. It's a really, really difficult thing to have to watch. But again, maybe do you think that could be down to the fact that the three of the four attacking line are new to the club? Do you think that could maybe have something to do with it?
I think it's mainly the tech ability. But the thing is, Kudos has got tech ability. Mawani, I'm not really sure about him. He's got some tech and he can turn, but he tends to lose the ball when he tries a bit too hard. Maybe he's trying a bit too hard. But Kudos, you can see, they know he's the threat, right? So he's got 2 or 3 players on him most matches. I've never seen him, apart from Burnley, right, where he was given more of a lesser free role, right, and he done really well in that game. I've never seen him without 2 players round him, you know, and they're close to him. They're not like, you know, when somebody double banks on, say, Saka or, you know, the really good wingers in the league. They double bank, but they lay off them because they know they've got trickery. But with Kudos, because they know he's got really brilliant first touch and tech skills, they're on him. As
Yeah,
soon
they
as
take him
that
out of the
ball's,
game. Yeah.
yeah, as soon as that ball's played to him. And without that, we've got nothing on the left because Mawani's not really a winger. He's trying his best, but he's not really a winger. And then Odegaard comes on and he is a winger. You can see the boy's got a bit of talent. He has got a bit of talent. A lot of people calling him out, saying he's crap, this, but we haven't seen much of him. So how can they say he's crap? We see 10 minutes, 15 minutes of him in cameo roles. He's never been really given he's been given a few first team starts, don't get me wrong, but they're in lesser games.
Yeah.
So I want to see him start a game, like a proper game.
I'll tell you what.
I would say, what we need to do, I think, Ellie, is to start same players, the front 3, start them consistently. So put a winger on the wings. So have Odegaard, because he's a winger. Have Mawani, because he is more of a striker. Have him up front and keep Kudos on the right. Why do we keep chopping, changing? Because that does not help. Keep chopping, changing how we're playing, what team we're playing, what style what formation we're playing. We need consistency, I think, for these players to get to know each other a little bit more, the ones that don't maybe know each other too well.
Yeah, that's a great point. But look, what we'll do is we will come back to that. What we'll do is we'll just go back to the player ratings real quick. We'll try and shoot through these as quickly as possible because there's quite a few of us in here, so we could be here all fucking day. Right, we got to the centre defensive players. Sorry, the centre backs. Guys, let's have a look. Again, I'll start off with Danso. I thought yet again another solid performance from Danso. The thing is, right, with Danso, if you were to play him over someone like a Romero, and Dan said this in the past himself, I feel like you would get a higher percentage of performances, but you'll never get that 10 out of 10, which is something Romero can offer. But the problem with Romero is he's not that consistent. But for me, yesterday, he was fantastic in that game. I mean, again, started off a little bit shaky, but grew into the game well, and I thought he did fantastic. I'd go as high as an 8 for him personally. Dietrich, what do you think, bud?
Always been a fan of Danso since his days at Lens in France. I think he's a solid 7 out of 10 defender. Some occasions he might have like a stinker, but that's fine. For me, the most important as your center back, don't be too cute like Romero with his passing against Liverpool. Just be solid, do your job, which is defending, and he did it. I think him and Van de Ven complement each other well. That's just my personal opinion on this one.
Yeah.
Because you have one that's a pure defender, and the other one that can run, that has space, that can turn, that's a better passer. So for me, I'll give him a solid 7.5 out of 10. He didn't do anything bad. Looked a bit shaky, but didn't do anything bad.
So you think the best combination is a ball-playing centre-back and a no-nonsense centre-back, basically? Huh?
Yes, you do. Because if you look at every winning team, they always had that one good centre-back on the ball, and the other one that was a nonsense.
Okay.
And unfortunately, with Romero, he has more of a bozo moment and more of like erratic moments than Danso. That's why it doesn't work as well. Unless you play a back three, then it can help.
Play. Yeah, no, fair play. Mia?
Yeah, I really like Danso. I call him the Big D. I think he's solid, isn't he? He's just like an old.
For what reason exactly?
His name's Danso and he's big. Do you mind about the gutter man?
Sorry.
He was the electric Kane.
Listen, I'm more of a Danso's got a cheeky smile, but I'm more of a Romero girl, as you all know.
Yeah.
My missus is the same, yeah.
With Danso, he's a no-nonsense, old school, does what he needs to do in it, centre-back. And I like that about Danso. I think what you see is what you get with him. And yesterday, I think he did go into the game really well. And I would give him probably a 7 out of 10 like you. I think that he done really well yesterday. I was pleased with his performance. And whenever he does come on, he always seems to give 110%. And he doesn't really do much wrong, like a couple of little things, but not very rarely do you see him really mess up. Like I say, he's quite no nonsense with what he does.
Yeah. No, that's fair play. What about you, Els? What do you think?
Yeah. I'll give him an 8. And the reason I'm giving him more than Mia and more than Dietrich, because I feel that he offers a threat bringing the ball out as well. Because I saw him yesterday. He was really good with bringing the ball out, and not a lot of people seem to notice that, right? And defensively, he only made one mistake. Well, if you call it a mistake, because Mateta did him. He sort of done that little flick and got it past him. But other than that, he was solid aerially. I think he won all these aerial duels, and he's built, isn't he? He's an old-fashioned, no-nonsense defender. I'll get that. But he's also quite technically good on the ball. He doesn't do any silly passes. He just plays it simple, and everything is in order with him. I don't feel worried. Yeah,
he's built like a truck, and he's a very
he's built like a brick house, right? But I don't feel worried. I don't think he's going to cock up. I always feel comfortable when he's in our defence.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind us going to a back three with Danso included, because I think we'll be more solid. Because Porro, not very good defensively. He's not terrible like people make him out, but he's not good, right? And I think with Danso on to his right, with the two, it gives them more chance to get up, because then he's got Danso, Romero, and VDV.
Yeah, for sure.
And it will make us even more solid, because we conceded a lot of goals. I was looking at our stats from last year to this year. I know a lot of people say that you shouldn't, but I do, because 18 games, we scored 12 more goals last season, and we've only conceded 2 less this season. So it's not a big difference. It's not a gigantic difference. So we need to shore it up more and get, obviously, in the January sale, we need somebody who can score from the midfield, from the wings, and an attacker who can score more prolifically than our current attackers are doing.
Oh, we will get to that.
Let's see if they do it. I'll leave it at that.
No
worries. He's the Big D, as Mia said.
It feels so wrong. That nickname feels so wrong.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call him that, but that's fine. You go right ahead. Okay, Matty, what's your thoughts on Danso that game, mate?
Yeah,
and
I thought he was
Big D, for fuck's sake.
No, I'm certainly not going to call him that. No, I think he was. I I think he knows his limitations, and I think he's a guy that he's the perfect signing for Spurs because he knows in the pecking order, so to speak, without being disrespectful. He kind of knows Romero, if it will play, I think, but he can come in, no frills, gets his job done, doesn't play beyond his capabilities most of the time. And he's probably, with Dragerson, the best header of the ball we've got in the whole squad. So I think he adds to our physicality because over the years we've been a little bit suspect when the ball comes into our box.
Yes.
So he certainly ticks that box. And I think after the first 15, 20 minutes with Mateta, I think he kind of adapted his game a little bit. I think early on he got wrong side and he got bullied a little bit. And I think he started to learn to go touch tight a couple of times, then let Mateta have the ball and then win the second ball. So I think he mixed up his game as he got into it. And then second half, I thought he even started to get confident enough to come out and go into the midfield. So I think he does what it says on the tin. He heads and kicks it, and he's a perfect foil for Van der Ven and Romero. Just to think last season we were playing Archie Gray and Ben Davis.
No, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree anymore, mate. I personally, I think it's a pleasure having a player like Dan side the club. He's ever reliable, you know. But right, we'll move on to Mickey Van der Ven, guys. The starlight of our club at the moment. For me, again, another fantastic display. It's very hard to dislike that man at the moment. He doesn't seem to put too much, he doesn't seem to put a foot wrong, really, does he? And without doubt, he is, for me at least, the best defender at our club. For me, I was happy with what he did. Again, same as Dan, so we didn't concede a goal. It's got to be an 8. D, what are you saying, buddy?
Don't call me that.
Well, I could have called you big. Oh, you want to be called Big D. Ladies, help him out.
Can't he be Little D and Danso's Big D, innit?
Oh my God.
You have been knighted, sir. You are Little D.
Leo, you getting around a bit.
No, only Romero. I've only got eyes for Romero.
He's the big R.
Right, go on, D. What are you saying, buddy?
I think I think Van der Ven was absolutely fantastic yesterday. And I'll say it again, this guy's not going to stay for long at Spurs. He is just too good.
Do you have to ruin it with that?
His tackling is amazing. His ball recovery is amazing. Everything's amazing with this guy. I just wish we can keep him for longer, but I don't think it's going to happen, if I'm being honest with you. Yesterday, the way he just tackles the forwards and he doesn't care, it is so beautiful to watch, honestly.
Yeah. So what was your overall score again? Sorry, 8.
For me, no. I think I said I believe he's 9. I'll give him a 9.
Look, it's very hard to argue with. Mia, what are your thoughts?
I don't think he put a foot wrong, Van der Ven. He was our captain as well. I thought that he always captains very maturely for a young guy, because don't forget he's still relatively young. So I think he's always got a very mature level head when he captains, and he didn't put a foot wrong. He gets back. His tackles are so perfectly timed as well. So I'd give him a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yep, fair play again. Can't argue with that. What about you, Ellie?
Yeah, I'll go along with that. 9 out of 10. The only thing I saw him pass a few times, not so clever, but most of his tackling is impeccable, isn't it? His timing, he doesn't take the man out. It's clean. He concentrates, which I like as a defender. He sees the danger and he snuffs it out. Right, even though we're not even playing this gun-ho style, he's still snuffing out, which is a sign of progression with him as well, because he's had to adapt his game, right? Because before he was running back and having to tackle, but the tackles that he's put in this season have been remarkable. And I'm not going to put any dampers and say he's going to leave. I'm just going to say, look, let's try and keep him as long as we can. And then, everything will be fine with him because he's just a fantastic, brilliant player, and I love him.
Yeah. Again, very hard to argue with. What about yourself, mate?
Yeah, pretty much been covered. Another good performance. I think he's added a little bit of physicality to his game this season. He doesn't seem to mind the physical side, whereas I think last year he was more the good cop and Romero was the bad cop. I think this year he's added a little bit of steel to his game, and when he's up in a physical aerial challenge or a physical 1v1 tackle, more often than not he's coming out with the ball. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me, and long may it continue.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, look, I'll tell you what we do is this will be a quick one because he went off anyway. Bergval, for me, do you know what? I'm going to say this is going to sound terrible. I think mate, look, I think Bergval will be at the very top one day, but I'm going to be really honest. I don't think he gets there at Tottenham Hotspurs. There are rumours going around that Liverpool want him for 52 million. I'm going to be real with you lot. I'd send him packing and maybe buy a more established player right now because for me, he stood still in his development. I'm not seeing anything different from last year. Call me crazy, but that's just me. Yeah, for me, 4, 5, he didn't really do much. Dietrich, what are you thinking?
Sorry. I think he... Okay, I'm not trying to be harsh, but I really think he's not that good. Like, he's not good at anything other than running and being a headless chicken. And if you look, like, the amount of times he just slides, the amount of times he cannot do a proper through ball. For me, like, he just hasn't been good, and I believe he needs a loan for his own good. So, yeah, I think I'll give him a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, fair play. Again, it's hard to argue with. What about you, Mia?
I would say that he can be definitely a bit of a headless chicken. He's still quite young, and sometimes he does unnecessary flicks. But then occasionally he does one and it comes off, and you're like, oh, okay. But he does it too much. Like, he tries to do those flicks and tricks a bit too much. But when he's playing, I feel like we at least are trying to go forward with the ball. And while he's not perfect, and I'm not trying to say for 1 second he is perfect or good or brilliant, I do think that when he's on, he definitely tries at least, like I say, to actually attack. Even if he isn't successful with it, he's still quite young. So possibly a loan wouldn't be a bad idea. But now I don't know if he would, like, if we would do that or not. But yeah, I'll probably give him a 5. I'd give him a 5.
Yeah, fair play. And Ellie?
Yeah, he's got the makings of a very good player. He's got the makings. He's got the touch. He knows how to run forward with the ball. Just the end product, and also he's got to improve his all-round passing because he gives the ball away quite a lot. His physicality's there because he's grown like Gareth Bale when he first came, and then he grew and he got bigger. But now he's got to step up. Right, but he hasn't made that step this season, and it's because we're struggling as a team as well. But still, if you're a top player, right? I know he's young, but if you're top player, there's many young players out there who are performing a lot higher than he is. So he's got to step up, right? Because he has got the makings of a very, very good player. I can see it. His movement is good. He's quite intelligent footballer, the way he gets into the little pockets. And sometimes I see he gets very frustrated because we don't pass the ball to him, right? And he's made a really good run. I've seen it many times this season because I keep an eye on him because I'm thinking, because I heard Hoddle say, he's got a very intelligent brain as a footballer, but he's got to improve all the little things in his game, right? And then the bigger things will come, all right? But in terms of the performance against Palace, I agree with Mia. I think a 5 was fair. I think the 2's a bit too harsh because he did do a few good moves and a few good flicks here and there, some unnecessary, but some came off. But yeah, I think 5 is a fair score for him.
No, fair enough. I mean, look, the things you're talking about, I think, come with age, don't they? But the thing is, my question is, will he realise that? Will he realise his potential at Spurs? I mean, to be fair, Lee Townsend here, it's a nail on the head. Players like Bergvall and Gray need loans. The problem for them is the experienced players who they compete with are not much better other than Paulinho, and he's absolutely right. Paulinho's top draw for me. So yeah, I don't know where we go with Bergvall. Personally, I think he either needs a loan or possibly move on, because for me right now, he's not who we need at the club. But such is life. Matty, what are you saying about Bergvall, mate?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to judge him too much on yesterday's game because he didn't play that long. But I think you can never question his kind of effort. He's one of them players that he really wants to do well. You can see it. You can see it on his face if he misplaces a pass, or you can see he's really trying hard out there. So I'll always gravitate to players that are trying, and I think it's kind of an indictment of Tottenham at the moment that we don't buy the Bergvalls when they're 23, 24, because they're going to cost 50, 60 million. So it's an indictment of our football club that we're signing him at 17, 18, and we're almost a work experience, and he's making mistakes and he's kind of picking up injuries and whatever else. And we're almost having to accept that as fans, because Arsenal or Man City would buy Bergvall at 23, 24, and he's the finished article. We're not that club at the moment, and that's maybe a question for the fans of why are our directors of football and owners of the football club not buying Bergvall when he's 22 and 23? So I think he's a work in progress. But I like Bergvall. I think there's definitely talent there, and you can see why clubs like Barcelona were allegedly interested in him, because you can see once he polishes some of the rough edges, he holds onto the ball sometimes too long. Sometimes he feels like he's always got like a YouTube footballer. He's almost like he wants to show he's got a trick every time he's got the ball. Just get it, pass it, build yourself into the game. So I think, without tempting fate, barring injuries, there might be a time where people go, did you have Bergvall? Because I think he will outgrow Spurs. I think, I don't know when, but I think there'll be a time, unless we change how we sign players, unless we change our wage structure, Bergvall will get to 22, 23, and somebody like a Barcelona or Madrid or Bayern Munich go bang, and he's out the door. So
can I just say something on what? Sorry, Matt. Can I just say one thing about what you said, because I don't want to lose my train of thought. But Joe, when you said why we don't we don't buy them at that age, because if they're good enough at that age, all the big teams are going to gobble them up. So what we need to do is buy the correct player at a young age, but not having to use them. So we need to have the more experienced players where they can come on these youngsters and still have time, but we don't use them as our primary midfielder, say, with Bergvall. That's your problem, because there's so many players in the past that people said, we should have got them when they were young because they developed into a good player. But we don't do that, because we know all the big clubs will come in and get them players. So we need to get the correct player, but also have the time to give them, but also have a player that will also play. So they're not the main person to play. So when they do make mistakes, it's not such a big deal, if you like, because they are developing.
I'll tell you what, I'll say one thing about Bergvall just quickly. I think he's got a smashing head of hair, and to me, it looks like he fell out of a L'Oreal advert. I just expect him to do that every time he gets up.
Do you not think that Bergvall, Archie, and Mickey are like a boy band? They're like the boy band look, didn't they? They're like a teen boy band.
Yeah, I do. Well, look, I'll tell you what, we'll move on to Gray now. I will leave this opinion to you guys. We'll try and speed this up and get through it. Archie Gray, D-Trix, hit me. What you got?
Can't stand him. Just can't stand the guy. I think he's average, got a lucky goal, good for him. But other than that, he brings nothing to the team. And when you saw Paulinho when he came on, you see the quality and the difference. I'm just not a fan of the guy. I'm not saying this out of pure hate. I just don't rate him. He brings nothing to the team. I'm just being honest with you guys. Brings nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, are you sure there's not a little bit of hate boner there?
No, I'm just being honest. Like, if you look at his passing is not good, his positioning did not do well. We got lucky we didn't get conceded a goal. And his goal was who gave him the assist again? Who was it?
Richarlison.
Yes,
Richarlison.
it was.
It was from Richarlison. He just had an easy tap in. But other than that, like for me, he did not do anything well. That's about
Okay.
it.
No, fair enough. I guess I understand it. I mean, for me personally, I think for a 19-year-old, he's doing all right. I mean, he's nothing special for sure, but I don't know. Well, look, how about you, Mia? What do you think on Archie Gray?
I think Dietrich's is a bit harsh there. Like, I
So do I.
understand that he's not the perfect player, but I don't think that anybody in that midfield yesterday can actually stand up and say that they were actually like really good yesterday, because I don't think any of them particularly were, if I'm honest with you. Paulinho, when he came on, maybe because he was like just getting in there, getting stuck in there, doing Paulinho things. But for a young boy, I actually think he's got quite a good vision. A few times when I've watched him, he's done some really good, wicked passes where he's got that vision. He looks up and he does a decent, like he looks up and he's decent, like with it. He thinks, right, okay. Yeah, gets his head up and that. I don't think he's the finished article by a long run. And we were lucky not to concede a goal. Well, that's not his fault that we were lucky not to concede a goal. He scored the goal that he needed to score. And whilst I don't think, like I say, he is the most perfect, great player, I'm not like a Lubo. Like, I don't like get really like thingy about him, but big up Lubo. But I don't think he's as bad as what Dietrich is saying. So I'm somewhat in the middle. I would give him probably a 5.5 for yesterday. I thought that without that goal, we wouldn't have won the game. So goals win you games, right?
No, you're right. And at the end of the day, he did what he needed to do. I don't think he was that bad either, but no, fair enough. Ellie, what do you think?
Archie Gray, he's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? You've got fans who don't like him, you've got fans who want to give him time, and you've got fans who love him. Right? I'm sort of in the middle. I can't make my mind up about him yet because I haven't seen him enough in that midfield role to make a pure judgment. What I do see, he's very competitive. He'll do some nice passes and he'll do some really bad passes. He's still learning the game. He's wet behind the ears in terms of the position he's playing. Before was not his given position. Now he's been given that role and he's keeping it now. I think he's kept it for 3 matches in a row. And the mistake that he made against Forest, well, you can say it's his mistake or Vicaria's mistake. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we conceded a goal. That's the worst part. But I can see there is a player there, right? He's got a good touch. He knows how to move the ball. Simple, he reminds me a bit like Ollie Skip in a way, but without that extra, because Ollie Skip was an academy player and you could see that he wants to do well, right? So now I'm just thinking, do I like him enough to keep him? Possibly, but don't play him as the out-and-out midfielder. I would play Paulinho instead of him, just so that he can learn and then bring him on, when we're ahead in a game, which is not very often these days. But there is a player there, but he's still raw.
So you think use him more wisely, basically, is what you're saying?
Yeah, use him more wisely.
Yeah,
And I'll go with a 6 out of 10 because I'll give him an extra point for scoring the goal.
Benji?
Sorry, just very quick, I want to say thank you to Football Inc. for the raid. Very much appreciated. This is my first time hosting, so no extra pressure for me. Thank you very much. Cheers,
Benji?
pal. Very much appreciated.
Benji, can I just read this one stat?
Yeah, man, go for it.
Okay, Bentancur, we said nobody was that good in midfield yesterday. I believe Bentancur was decent. Okay. But if you look at his passing yesterday, Bentancur made 30 passes, while Archie Gray made only 18 passes. As a midfielder, for me, is absolutely ridiculous.
Bentancur was an experienced, older, he's like a baby compared to him. So he should be like more experienced, where Archie hasn't got quite that experience. And what I meant by the midfield was no one was controlling that midfield. In that first half, no Bentancur or him weren't doing much in like to control that game. It was a bit of a wild west kind of game. So what I'm trying to say is neither of them did. And Bentancur's a bloody experienced player. He's an older, experienced player, so he should be doing a bit more as well and stepping up.
Me, I understand your point, but
it's
for me,
true.
once you're on the pitch, age is out of the window for me.
But it's not, though, because at the end of the day, experience is everything. Experience in life is key. You can't expect a 20-year-old, say someone your age, to have the experience of somebody, no offence, Ellie, but Ellie's age has. Or I have less experience than
Yeah,
Ellie.
but
She's seen more than me. She's been there, done things more than what I have. So if I take advice from her, because obviously she knows in it. So what I'm trying to say is Bentancur's an older player. He's more experienced, man.
I agree. And also, what I'd like to add to that, right, Bentancur is the middle of the three, right? So he gets past the ball a lot more from the defenders because he picks up the ball more than Archie Gray, right? Because he's the senior player. So he demands the ball more, right? So obviously he's going to make more passes because they're going to pass to him more because he's the most experienced head in the midfield. You see, so that's not Archie Gray's fault.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what, Maz, we'll come to you ever so quickly on Gray. What were your thoughts on Gray? It's been a bit of a mixed bag so far, so I'm interested to see what you've got to say.
I don't think he'll make the highlight reel for anything he did yesterday, apart from put his head on the 2-yard line. But I think I'll put him in the Bergvall. I think he's on work experience. We're playing him, and he's going to make mistakes. He's going to obviously against Nottingham Forest is a perfect example.
He's 19, isn't he? He's 19.
Yeah. Now I also understand the fans that are saying we need better. I understand that as well, but you know, we have to understand the football club that we are, Tottenham, and unfortunately, you know, we have gone down a business model over the last 3 seasons where we've slashed the wage bill, we've brought in young players, inexperienced players, and the reason that we got Archie Gray and the reason we got Bergvall was because Ange and all the directors promised them they'd be integrated into the first team squad from day one. So that comes with repercussions. Were they ready last season to play 25 games in the Premier League last season? No. Should they be playing every 4 days in the Premier League this season? No. But unfortunately, this is the football club that we are at the moment. Would they be getting as many minutes for Aston Villa or any of those clubs? No. So for me, 4 out of 10 because he scored the winning goal. But there's not many jumping over him to get the position. I personally would play Paulinho and one other with him, whether that's Bentancur or Gray. But he's lucky that there's no midfield dynamo in there that you say he's got to play. So that's why he's probably tossing a coin on a morning. Thomas Frank going, Gray, who today? That's where we are at the moment, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen.
I think you've hit a nail on the head there, mate. I really, really do. And I think that's maybe the difference between big clubs and clubs of our size. You know, I feel like I know how to treat, you know, youth a bit better than what we do. Because you don't really see, you know, teams like, you know, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool doing that. Usually they tend to get in, you know, younger talent, and then they'll ship them out on loan and sort of integrate them slowly. They won't go, hey, let's bung 2 19-year-olds on the pitch, game in, game out, and see how things go. It's a ridiculous notion. All right, look. So again, I will skip my opinion on this. We'll try and speed it up a bit. Bentancur, Dietrich, how do you feel he did yesterday?
I think he did his job, especially with having 2 youngsters that are pretty horrendous next to him. I'll give him the solid 7. Dictated the tempo, good passing, made some good tackles. Honestly, an average Bentancur performance, I'll give him a solid 7 out of 10. I don't believe he did anything wrong, if I'm not mistaken. He just did his job.
I tell you what, I look at Bentancur sometimes and I think to myself, what is he good at? Admittedly, coming deep and receiving the ball, because he's got a weird ability to kind of play his way out of trouble. I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And he sweeps up reasonably well. I mean, I wouldn't go as far to call him an out-and-out defensive midfielder, but he sweeps up reasonably well. But I feel like a player like Bentancur needs to add more of a deep-lying playmaker sort of role to his game, because he did used to do that at Juventus, and somewhere down the line, he seems to have lost that. But yeah, for me, I don't know what's quite going on with Bentancur. I don't know how to look at him anymore. Mia, how do you feel Bentancur did yesterday?
I will go with a 5. I think he did not much wrong, but like I say, I don't think in that first half, like I say, it was a bit wild west with the old midfield. And as the more experienced player, I don't think he did quite enough to try and get on the ball and kind of control it a little bit and be a bit more calm with a calm head in the midfield. So I think he did not much wrong, and I do think he grew into the game, and he didn't do awful or anything. So a 5. And I think since his injury, he's definitely that second injury. Before that, he was a really good player, but I feel like that injury is definitely holding him back a little bit because he's cautious. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It's a fair analogy. It really is. He definitely went downhill after that injury. But then, to be fair to him, that was, it's a hell of an injury to come back from. So, I mean, I suppose to an extent, you got to, applaud him for that at least. But what about you, Ellie? How do you feel about him?
Yeah, it's a funny one with Bentancur, because before he used to progress the ball quite well from the deep line areas, like you're saying. But now he seems to be like passing sideways and backwards. He hardly ever passes the ball forward, which frustrates me, because I know he can, and he's got a good pass on him usually, right? So it's just frustrating watching him. And I know he works hard for the team. No one can doubt that. He gets about the pitch. He snuffs out a lot of danger. Not all the time, but he snuffs out a lot of danger. He's experienced in there, so he's a calm head. Normally, if you rile him up by kicking him, then he's not so calm. But I just don't know. I think he's gone backwards a bit in terms of what I used to see him do. All right, so in terms of a score, I'll give him 6, because I thought he did cover a lot of ground and he did some nice balls sideways and backwards, but that's it. I can't give him any more because he never affected our play in the final third, and I wanted to see him do that because I know he's got the capability to do it, and it's just a shame he's gone backwards.
No, I totally agree. He can be a frustrating player. I mean, I remember watching him. Well, we all do, watching him in that PSG game at the start of the season. What a world-class performance that was for him. I was blown away. But again, he's another player at Tottenham Hotspur with consistency problems, which, does my Swede in. How about yourself, mate? How did you see Bentancur yesterday?
I thought he was neat. He was neat and tidy. I think lacks consistency, which is why he'll have a very good game, and you go, right, put my mortgage on him. And then he'll have 2 games where he's the invisible man. So you might argue that that's why he's at Spurs at the moment. I like Bentancur. I think he gives his all every game. You can never question his lack of effort.
That's fair.
But
there is a but.
I think since the injuries. Don't forget, he done his ACL, and then he had another bad injury after Matty Cash. And I think that second injury, he's not quite been the same when he has to twist and turn. His mobility's not quite. It's almost like I think he just doubts himself. If you remember him before the injuries, in tight spaces, he could get away from people and he'd start us on the attack. I think he doubts himself a little bit more, which is why, Ellie, I think he'll go safe a lot more now. So he'll do a lot of sideways and back to the fullback. He doesn't pull away from people like he used to. So I think he's a steady Eddie. He's a good squad player for me. But I think if Spurs want to be the next step, I think that somebody should come in and take his shirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also,
Again,
may we all
just,
just curse Matty Cash for what he did, scumbag.
Yeah.
well, yeah. To be fair, I mean, I remember that game. It wasn't great, was it? Good lord, I thought Romero was going to go and kill him. But yeah, overall, I have to agree with you guys. It's a mixed bag with Bentancur, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Right, final three. I will start with our attacking line with Kudus. Dietrich, what are you saying about Kudus, my man?
Kudus is what I call a luxury player. It's gonna piss off a lot of the fan base, but I do believe we need to do better than him next summer. That's just a personal opinion.
Really? That's a huge statement.
No, I'll explain what. I don't mean sell him, but I do believe we need to do better as a consistent player than Kudus. For me, Kudus is a player that's amazing to watch, like gets you off your seat, but at the end of the day, nothing comes off. He's like Barcola from PSG. Looks amazing, but has no end product.
You know what, Dietrich, I'll tell you what, so can do all the extravagant stuff really well, but none of the basics well, which is just mind-blowing.
Yes, like yesterday, for example, even the game before, like there's like acres and acres of space to just run with the ball. I don't know why he just likes going towards the middle for no absolute reason. And at times I'm like, Kudus, like, you don't even have to do that. Or like at times there's like 3 players in front of you yesterday and he just tries to beat all of them but then loses possession for... And I just don't... I personally don't understand him. I think he's like... He started really well, but the fan base feels like... No, it feels like the fan base is still stuck from like the couple of games he had for us, where he was amazing. And at the moment in time, Kudus, clearly he had a purple patch, and now he's been like average at best. For me, his shooting is horrendous. His passing is not good. His crosses is a hit and miss. And I feel like for me, even as a defender, I'll be happy to defend against Kudus because he's freaking predictable on a 1v1.
You think? That's something I wouldn't put him down for if I'm brutally honest.
He is predictable. He is.
Okay.
You know what he's gonna do, so that's why I'm gonna say for me yesterday I'll give him a 5 or 6 because I haven't been impressed with him generally.
No, I can understand it. Like, fair enough. Mia, how do you see it on him?
Joe, I'm a bit hot and cold with Kudus because I get really frustrated with him when he runs with his head down and doesn't pass the ball like soon enough. He doesn't release it quick enough, and there's players around him, and he just doesn't do it, and it really frustrates me because then the ball gets taken off of him. But yesterday, I did find that he looked up a little bit more. I definitely think that he was looking around him a bit more, and he did get double up on and like tripled one point. Like he had 3 players around him. And he is a really frustrating player because I think there's better in him. And I really want someone to come in and use him to his best abilities and if we could have someone on the other side who maybe consistently that we could feel like we can get it to them as well. So he's not just getting the ball all of the time. I think we rely on him too much. And that's why everybody just doubles and triples up on him. But that leaves other players free. But he doesn't get his head up quick enough sometimes to realise that there's a free man. And that is really, really frustrating with him. I do find that really frustrating. So I think yesterday out of the front 3, he's probably a bit more of the fairly consistent ones. I'll probably give him a 7.
Again, I don't feel like he was too bad yesterday. Like you said, he got his head up a bit more, which was nice to see. What about you, Ellie? How do you feel he did yesterday?
Yesterday, okay. Nothing to write home about. You know, he was heavily marked. Got a bit frustrated. He was taken off because I think he looked a bit tired to me, but he shouldn't really be looking tired after just 18 games. But he sometimes flatters to deceive, and when he does pull off something, because I was just looking at his stats as well, right? He's got very good stats. He's scored 2 goals, 5 assists. That's better than Jeremy Doku, right?
That's not bad,
I've done a comparison between him, Minter and Ndiaye, who we're after, and we say that he would be better, but he's got the best dribbles in the league, But
Yes.
I know where Dietrich's is coming from because he can be frustrating, right? But he gets frustrated as well because he's heavily marked, and sometimes his trickery can't get him out of the tight spaces. But that's where he needs Porro to join him more, the other midfielders to get closer to him. So
Yes.
when he is being heavily marked, he can lay the ball into the midfield or back to Porro. Yeah, and I think Porro, he was doing okay up to a point, but then he left Kudos on his own a lot of the time, and Bergvall was more assisting him. So I think he does need help because every winger, right? They need a player to play with as well. Do the 1-2s. You see other teams do it. They do so many 1-2s. Even Palace yesterday, they were doing really good 1-2s on the wing, right, to get past us.
Yep.
And Arsenal do it the best, by the way. Arsenal do it fantastic with when Martinelli comes on. The problem with Martinelli, he hasn't got the end product that Kudos has got, because Kudos has provided 5 goals, and he provided one yesterday, but unfortunately it was offside. So I'll give him a 5 because I don't think he was up to what he normally does, but I think a 5 is a fair score for him.
Yep, fair enough. I mean, look, if he is predictable, he has at least got the talent and the quick thought to get past a man. I mean, that's undeniable. But I suppose I can see your points. I guess maybe at times he can be a bit predictable. I mean, again, a lot of the chat are agreeing with you. So just to answer a question here, I have no idea. It was just something I come up with. I'm a bit of a chunky monkey. My name is Ben. Go figure. That's where the name came from. But right, okay. Matty, what are your thoughts, mate? Can you please sum up your thoughts on the enigma that is Kudus?
Yeah, I thought he was okay. I thought he was 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I think he's he does get frustrated at times. You can see sometimes he gets frustrated. I don't know if that's with the lack of support when he gets the ball, or if he's frustrated in his own game at times. But I think he's a talent. There's no doubt he's a talented player. I think he's such a strong guy in a 1v1 duel. Even when it's 60-40 against him, he keeps hold of the ball for us. He's one of the only players that I trust. If we give him the ball, he normally comes out with it. So I think he's such a polar opposite to Brendan Johnson. Brendan Johnson doesn't want the ball, but will pop up with a goal. Kudus is the opposite. Wants all the ball, but doesn't look like, a couple of times the ball got flashed across the box in the second half and Kudus wasn't there at the back post. You can imagine Johnson with that ball being flashed across probably wouldn't have done half of what Kudus done, but he does have that knack of popping up at the back post. So I like Kudus. I think he's a victim of our team at the moment where we have no threat down the left. So teams set up defensively to know, let the ball go out to the left because you can guarantee it's going to end up at Kudus. So they just shunt across, and that's why it looks like he's always got 2 or 3 players on him, because they leave the left winger because, whether it's Richarlison, whether it's Tau, whether it's Colo, we don't have that threat on the left. And what magnified that even more yesterday is the moment Odegaard came on, Crystal Palace hadn't changed their mindset. So they were so focused on Kudus. That's why Odegaard had, I'm going to give him credit because he took the initiative, but he didn't have 2 men on him because they were sleeping on that left-hand side because they still thought it was another Colo-esque player. Actually, Odegaard, they gave him a bit of space. He ran into it. Once he was successful in his first dribble, you could see his confidence went up, and then he had a really good cameo. So I would like to see Tottenham when we had the Gareth Bale and Aaron Lennon, and we had a threat on either side. I'd like to see us get a left-sided, potent attacker, which would free up a bit more space for Kudus.
For sure. Do you actually also feel, and guys, I don't know if you agree with me here, do you also feel that might be slightly the problem with Xavi as well? Because the thing is, in order to play make, you need players to get it too. And you can clearly see Richarlison's not trusted in that area. And I feel like Kudus is constantly doubled up on. Do you feel like, on top of that, with a left winger, that would maybe release Xavi a bit more? Just out of
Yeah.
curiosity.
Yeah, because when you think about it, right, you've got a left winger, a right winger. The team defending doesn't know which way we're going to go because we've got two options, and then we've got Xavi in the middle like a spider feeding. Yeah, so he's very good on the ball as well, and he's got good vision. So they've got a free threat rather than a one threat. So they've got three players to look after, and it confuses teams, and it makes them go more like in a low block. But if you've got enough good technical players like we have, right? Because Kudos is very technical player. No one can deny that. He might be frustrating sometimes, but his tech skills are exemplary. The way he receives the ball, the way he holds the ball, he can turn with the ball. He's brilliant at dribbling. Yeah, so we've got all of that, but nothing on the left side. And then Xavi will be the orchestrator, the conductor in
catalyst.
the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get another one next to him as well when Madders comes back, but we need that player better than Bentancur, deep line player who can pick up the ball and feed, right? And feed accurately as well. Like a number 8 sort like Walton does for Palace. Similar player to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Do you
the
know what?
problem with that is, Ellie, though, is that the way that we want to play is that way. But does Frank want us to play that way?
That's
Because
the
I get a
problem.
feeling I don't know if that's really what Frank wants us to really do.
He's a very pragmatic manager, but if he wants to be successful in this league, he has to adapt as well. That's what I would say we always pointed the finger at Ange not adapting. Well, he has to adapt as well. Because you can't always be pragmatic because it doesn't win leagues. What wins leagues is being solid, and you've got your flair players and your forward players that score you a lot of goals. And we need that. We haven't got that at the moment.
No, I think that's a fair assessment, to be honest. But look, I'll tell you what we do. We move on to the last two because we've been doing this for a while now. My fault, sorry. Right, so we'll move over to who was on the left for us. Jesus, my brain has gone numb.
Mawani was on the left.
There you go. Sorry, Mawani. That's brain fart. Mawani, how did you guys see Mawani? Oh, we've lost Dietrich's. Apologies, technical fault. Mia, how did you see it with Mawani yesterday?
Do you know what? I think Mawani is trying a bit too hard. Like he's a bit of a try hard. And I think if he just relaxed a little bit more, that I think he could do a lot better. I think he's been a bit unfortunate. And on the left, I don't particularly like him. I think he's more to be in the centre because he can hold up the ball and he's actually pretty good with his feet. I've seen him and I thought, actually, you're not too bad with your feet and he can hold the ball up. So I don't know why we don't use him as that number 9 more, because I do think he can. I do think he's better in that position than the left wing. I just don't think he's a left winger, man. And you can see it in him. He just doesn't have the movement or I don't know. There's something about him when he's on that left wing. It looks awkward. He looks awkward. Sorry, I just don't think it's. I don't think it's suited to him, man. And I feel like it's a bit. We should be playing him through the middle, like I say, and someone on the left that is a winger, and stick with it and see what Mawani can do, because he has been good in he's been good where he's been at. So I don't think he's a bad player. I just think he's got to get used to the Prem a little bit, which is like he don't get as many touches, but he also has to do better. 100% he has to do better, but.
So what would you say? Would you say if Mawani was given the same amount of time as Richie in a number 9, we'd see a lot more out of him? Because for me, that's personally how I feel. You got to look at Richie may have scored more goals, fine. But if you took Richie out of the team and you played Mawani as a number 9 consistently, I think his overall game is so much better. I mean, number 1, he can trap a ball. Number 2, his touch is 10 better. Number 3, he can beat a player. Number 4, his passing is a hell of a lot better. So
I think Joel Elsbenj, I think, is that we don't have to necessarily just keep spamming the crosses in, because like he is good with his head, but it ain't the only thing he's got. It's not the only attribute. I find when we've got Richie there, that's what we do. We spam in the crosses. And when we did it the other day in the game against Forest, I was like, we can't do that because they've got big defenders that are just going to knock them away. So we need to play to our best abilities. And Mwani's better with the ball at his feet a little bit, like he's a bit more technical. So it make us be able to maybe have a different way of scoring a goal as well, instead of just on like trying to get it on Richie's head the whole time.
Yeah. and you saw against PSG as well, where he was
Yeah.
in the middle and he scored 2 goals, 2 very good goals. So he can score goals. I've seen other people say he's not good in front of goal, but he scored goals everywhere he's been. He hasn't been prolific, don't get me wrong, but he scored goals, right? So he's got that in his locker. But I think he's more technical, obviously. I mean, I'm more technical at this age than Richie. Fucking hell.
It's
Sorry
not
to
hard, is it?
swear.
It's not
You know,
hard.
it's not hard.
Fucking hell.
But yeah, but I think he's wasted on the left because he's got a good touch, right? You play the ball into him, right? Play the ball into him in the middle, and Kudos is very good at that. We play Odebear for now, right, and put crosses into him, he'll score goals. He will, right? So I've got a lot of faith in him because he's an all-round good footballer. His touch is good. He can move good. He's quite fast, you know, and he's got good awareness. So I just want to see him in that number 9 role so we can sort of say, okay, it didn't work out or
Yeah.
it did work out. You know
Yeah.
what I
No,
mean?
I'm 100%
Yeah.
with you. Do you know what? I actually feel like there's a little bit of misfortune around Mawani because, as I've said previously, the guy didn't play football for 2 or 3 months at PSG before he came to us, right? So instantly you've got a player that's not sharp. And then he got injured for a month, you know, and right now we need a player that can come in and hit the ground running. And I can't help but feel a little bit.
He was at Juventus, weren't he? Not PSG. He was at Juventus. And I think he scored 9 goals. He scored 9 goals for them, and then he went back to PSG. Then he didn't play pre-season, did he?
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I think
'cause
he
was on
played
loan.
16 games for Juve and scored 8,
he scored
I think.
8 or 9. I think
Which
he scored
again is a
one in
goal
the-
every other game. I mean, you can't moan with that, can you? I mean, for a striker, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, fair play. Matthew, what do you feel on Mawani? How do you think he was yesterday?
I think he struggled. I don't think it's his natural position, and I think the fan base, obviously, we're very. It's a very short attention span of yes or no. You know, we look at a player after a game, 2 games, and we say yes or no. Generally, as a fan base, and I think he's been a victim of. He missed the majority of pre-season because he was between 2 clubs. He was waiting for the deal to happen with Juventus.
Yeah,
that deal didn't happen, so you could argue that he wasn't match fit. Then, last minute of the transfer deadline, we sign him. He then comes to the most physical, most demanding league in club football with no pre-season, and then in his first week of training gets a dead leg of Papa Sarr, and then he's out for another 3 weeks with a dead leg, and then gets rushed back, and then I think his second game back he does his he breaks his jaw courtesy of Harry Maguire. So he's had a stop-start crash course introduction to the Premier League with a team that's got a new manager playing a completely different way of football. And he's been labelled. He's been labelled by some of the fan base as a flop. He's technically the most gifted number 9 we've got at the club. Technically,
yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Do you think more so than Solanke?
Technically, he's more gifted than Solanke. Yeah, I think Solanke is more suited to the Premier League. He's 6'3". He's big and strong. He does all the ugly work. So you still need a Solanke. But I guarantee you, had Solanke been fit all season, and we could have sprinkled Colo in every other game or half an hour here or whatever, you'd have seen a better Colo. The problem is Richarlison. He's such a hybrid footballer. He's not a natural number 9. He's a street footballer. He lives off scraps. He doesn't do the conventional number 9 role. So all the attention is on the guy we've brought in, which is Colo. Yes, the Richarlison's got 7 goals or whatever else, but his overall game is so poor that he offers you very little. Having said that, I thought Richie was very good against Crystal Palace. I thought he was very good. He was very good against Crystal Palace.
Okay, well, we'll come to him now. For me, How is he a professional footballer? I don't know, but yeah, Richarlison. Look, listen, I can't stand the guy. I can't. He just can't do anything right. He's just a nuisance. People say, "Oh, get him on the pitch and annoy people." What? His own fans. Cool. Mia, what do you think of Richarlison's performance yesterday?
I've got to say, I think he did do well yesterday.
Okay.
I think with Richarlison, right, he's a bit of like he splits people, because a lot of people obviously don't like him and they say like what you just said. But at the end of the day, he does always give 110% when he is on that pitch, man. Like, I don't think for 1 second that he don't. And in that Europa final, mate, he was a right pest. And there's something to be said for that. And he does get back and help out. There are a few times yesterday I heard Richarlison got on the ball when we were defending, man. So he does help out and defend as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? To your point, he did actually have the second highest defensive stats on the pitch.
Well, there we go. So, I think that, so yesterday, I think he did work really hard. And he could have had 2 goals, all but 4 very marginal offside. So, although, you've got to work harder to keep yourself on side, they were very marginal. When you looked at them back, it wasn't like he was significantly offside. So, I don't think actually Richarlison did bad yesterday, in all fairness.
No, fair enough. I mean, I suppose he wasn't that bad. Maybe I'm a bit biased. I just can't stand the guy after what we've seen this season. I can't. It blows my mind he even gets on the pitch, truly.
Like, don't get me wrong. He's obviously not a great striker. I'm not trying to say for 1 second I rate him as a striker and that I think he's fantastic. But I think when you go game by game, when we're talking individual games and what he does in a game, you have to give him props when he does do well, because at the end of the day, other players don't put in the effort and we always moan about them not giving 100% and not doing all the things they're supposed to do. So when he does, I'm going to say, fair enough, Richie, you did do what you're supposed to do.
Am I being harsh? Am I? I might be being harsh. I don't know.
No, listen, you're not being harsh. That's your opinion of him, right? And stick to your opinion, because that's how you see him, right? So, listen, Richie is one of those players, right? You either love it. He's like Marmite, isn't he? You either love him or hate him. And sometimes you'll love him in a match, and then a lot of the time you'll hate him in a match, because he'll fall over when he can easily just trap the ball and lay it off, right? So he does frustrate a lot of the fans, I must admit. But yesterday, apart from his offside, I thought he played for the team. And he put in a shift, both defensively and in attack. He made himself available. He headed the ball to Archie Gray to score as well, which he's very good at, because he's done it a few times this season already, and he done it last season as well. So the thing is with Richie, right? You're never going to get 100% perfect performance from him. You'll get 50-50, right? And when he scores, it doesn't always. It's not always an important goal, you know. He's never really been prolific, has he, throughout his career, right?
Not particularly.
What you've got to do is know what you're going to expect, right? And don't expect anything more or less, because then you won't be disappointed. Like a lot of fans, they're very disappointed in him, right? But I don't get very disappointed in Richie, because I know what I'm going to get, right? So I'll
keep your expectations low, man, and then you don't get disappointed.
I'll give him a 7 out of 10, purely because of his movement and his willingness to get on the ball and his teamwork. Right?
Okay, I mean that's fair, I guess. I mean, you are right. He was quite tenacious yesterday, so for effort, fair enough. I won't argue with you. All right, matey. What's your thoughts on the wonderful Richarlison?
Look, there's a saying, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So we are living in difficult times as a Tottenham fan base. You know, I will mention Canute, I would mention Teddy Sheringham, I will mention Robbie Keane, Defoe, Mido, Berbatov, without even going to the obvious Harry Kane. So these are the centre forwards that we've had in the last 20 plus years. So he is nowhere near that level of number 9 that we've had at Tottenham Hotspur. So at the moment, again, it's an indictment of where we are as a club that Richarlison is our number 9. Would I sell him in the summer? I'd sell him in January if we got the right money for him. But for the moment, he's doing a job. He's frustrating, as I won't swear on your show, Ben, but he's just...
No, you go right ahead, by all means, mate.
He's frustrating as fuck, but every now and again, he's Johnny on the spot, and he kind of puts one in. But I for 1 minute don't think he's the answer. And if Spurs want to be anywhere near what the Lewis family are suggesting, we need to upgrade Richarlison ASAP.
You know what? Do you know what? I'm hearing rumours of a new contract. If they give him a new contract, take me out back, tie me to a tree and put me out of my fucking misery, because I will be done if he signs a new contract. I can't watch him anymore. I'm sorry. I can't. But right, listen, so we've got through the first team. We'll probably leave the subs for the moment. I will just like to say this, and I'll be interested in your thoughts. 2 players in particular. One, Radu Dragusin, great to see him back. That's a horrendous injury he got. I'm pleased to see him back. A bit risky playing him in a game that you desperately need to win. First game back, probably not a great idea, but, you know, it is what it is. But Odebear. Now, where do you guys stand on Odebear? For me, I've seen small but genuine improvement, and I'd like to see him more regularly. Mia, I'll come to you first. What's your thoughts on Odebear?
Yeah, I think that we've definitely seen something in him. And even last season when he got some chances, I was at the game. I remember one of the games when I was close to the pitch, and I liked what I see from him. That was the Arsenal game, actually.
Yes.
And I liked what I see from him, you know. I think that he's a decent player, and I think that we need to play him more, because I think if he gets a bit more time, I think that he's somebody who does do something a bit different to whoever else we put on the left, so Richie or Mawani. So, and he's a natural winger, and he does take on his man. He does take his man on, you know. And I think that he needs confidence. I think he's a bit of a confidence player. So I think because he hasn't been playing, I think that's just, no, he hasn't had that much confidence. But when he came on, he looked so good. He looked like desperate to prove himself. And I really would like to see him play regularly more, because like I say, he's a natural left winger, man. We need to do what's best for the team. And that's putting someone who's a natural left winger there to be able to have that balance of having someone on that side that can take the ball, run with the ball, take on their man, because at the minute we're only relying on Kudos. So I would really like to see a bit more of Odegaard for sure.
Yeah, do you know what? I completely agree. I mean, we're not saying he's a world-class talent here, but he has definitely shown signs of improvement. And you're absolutely right. He's very confident on the ball. And in situations like we had yesterday, it comes in handy, doesn't it? Ellie, how do you see Odegaard? Are you a fan of him?
Not a fan, but I don't not rate him, but I'm not a big fan of his. But he's a decent enough player. He could develop into like a little Aaron Lennon if we develop him even more, because he's got that dribbling skill like Aaron Lennon used to have, right? So I can see a bit of Aaron Lennon in him. He just has to get a little bit stronger, you know, physically as well. But he's only, how old is Odegaard? 20, I think?
20.
Yeah.
20, 21 maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because we haven't seen a lot of him. It's hard to judge him because he's like having cameo roles and then he gets the odd start here and there. So it's hard to judge him. I watch him for France as well, but that's in a different setup. That's international football. You can't really compare it to the Premiership. So there's nothing really solid to get your teeth into to say, yeah, I think he's this or I think he's that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, so... But I can see that there's something there.
There's something there.
There's something
Definitely.
there. It just needs to be honed and get him playing more so he can get more experience in the Premiership. You can't stop, start. It's not good for his career, you know.
It's something Sava said not so long ago. He said at the start of the season, with that left wing position, just stick with one person and see how it goes. And if I'm honest with you, I feel like Odegaard is that guy. Matty, dare I ask your opinion on him? Because I'm seeing in chat there's not too many fans of Odegaard. So what's your thoughts?
Again, I think he's in the Archie Gray and Bergveld camp where he's on work experience at Tottenham Hotspur, and he's going to make those mistakes. He's going to have 15, 20-minute cameos where you go, I want to see more. Then you might start the next game and then become the invisible man again. So we've slashed the wage bill and brought in players. How much is? Here's a question: how much is Odegaard on a week? Do you know?
I'll look
I
it
wouldn't
up.
imagine it'd be a
It
lot.
can't be very much.
25,000.
25.
Oh no, £25,000 a week, Odegaard. So that again tells you
25 grand.
£25,000 a week. So listen, I'm not saying that if you get £200,000 a week, that equals 20 goals a season, but the proof is in the pudding. We've gone from established match-winning attackers in Son and Harry Kane, and we've replaced them with Odegaard and Tell. How many seasons have Odegaard? This is his third season of top-flight football. One in France, one with Burnley, and he's come to Spurs. So he's learning. He's learning on the job. The problem is he doesn't have the established Son that's going to lead the attack, and he comes on with half an hour to go, has those cameos, and you go, oh, I like that young kid. Yeah, he's got something. He's having to play the Son role with no experience in the hardest league in club football. So I know it was only 20 minutes, whatever it was, but on that, 8 out of 10. But if you remember, he had a similar cameo against Man United, and everyone was like, wow, who's this guy? And then I think he played the game or the game after, and then he was the invisible man again. So if you bring in a Lookman or a Semenyo, I know we're not going to get him, but if we get that level of wide player and Odegaard gets 20, 25 minutes here or there, fine. But he's not the guy that's going to play 38 league games a season. He's not the guy.
Yeah, he's just not that guy right now. No, I can completely understand that. Again, I'm not advocating him to sort of rise through the ranks as quickly as other players perhaps in the team, but I can't help but feel he's improved on since last season. So that's why, I feel like he should be given more time. But I will just move on to one more player because I'm seeing a lot in chat. Paulinho for me. Paulinho, whatever it may be. Paulinho, that's the one. So for me, that is a player that wins you championships. And what I mean by that is he's got a winning mentality. His talent is above and beyond anything else we've got in midfield. For me, every time he comes on when he's not starting games, it's night and day. I mean, people complain about his passing, but for me, I don't see a problem there. Paulinho comes in, he bosses that midfield. His challenges just honestly blow my mind at times. I think he is a fantastic player and the sort of player for me that would fit into any top 4 team. I think he's brilliant. But Mia, how did you see Paulinho's little cameo? I mean, he made some challenges, didn't he?
Yeah, like he's no nonsense as well. He gets in, he gets stuck in, he does what he needs to do. Is he a technical player? No. Is he great when it comes to passing the ball? No, he's all right. Like, he's very much what he's there for is what he's there for, which is to break up the play, to win the ball back and then get it to somebody else who can pass the ball, somebody a bit more technical. So, yeah, if that's the kind of play that you want to have to be able to do that, of course. But sometimes I just don't think it's necessary when we're playing lower teams, especially at home, that we need somebody like that because we should be controlling the game. It's the games where we're not, like, maybe we need that to win that ball back, where it's a bit of a tougher midfield, where we do need like someone like him. So while I appreciate what he does, I don't think we necessarily should be having him playing all of the time. I do think certain games we should be playing him, absolutely. Other games, not so much. Like, I feel like we should be needing to have a Paulinho there to sort of do that job. We need someone a bit more, like maybe a bit more technical on the ball.
That's when you bring in your Bentancurs, basically, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's the difference.
Okay. Els, what do you think about Paulinho's cameo yesterday?
he's my type of player. I love him. I think he's fantastic, right? I don't care about that he licks one pass loose because he doesn't. His passing's okay, right? It's not brilliant.
It's good
okay.
enough.
It's
Yeah,
passable, right?
100%.
But he's not. He's there to win the ball, and he wins the ball back so many
Mm.
times for us. It's unbelievable. I love him. He's all blood and thunder as well. Get stuck in, roll your sleeves up.
Love
He
that.
scored. I think he scored 4 goals as well this season, right?
He has.
And he's just. I love that blood and guts thunder winner. He's a winner through and through, from his head to his toe. He's a winner. That man. I love
Could not
him.
agree more. Yeah,
And he's
I'm
so
with you.
competitive. He doesn't want to lose any tackle, right? And if he does, he'll go back a second time and a third time until he wins it. That's what I like. You need that player in when you're playing the more experienced teams. Like Mia said, you don't have to play him every game because he's getting on a bit, right? And it is a challenging league, right? So, yeah, I just love him. I think he's the perfect midfielder. Brilliant.
No, 100%. I agree. Right, Matty, take us home, mate. Paulinho.
Yeah, look, I think Ellie's covered it spot on. You know, if I was the coaching people at Spurs, I'd be saying to Archie Gray, just watch how this guy conducts himself on the pitch. You imagine him in training; he's absolutely impeccable in training. He never say die attitude, wears his heart on the sleeve. So yeah, I think we could do a lot worse than sign him permanently. I'm not sure what the situation is with Frank not starting him in many games. I don't know if that's he's got a nursing and an injury. I'm not sure, but we're a better team with him in it. For me, I don't
100%.
I don't understand this bringing him on with half an hour to go. I think I'd rather start him and then say to him, give me everything, which he always does. And after 65, 70 minutes, then maybe bring him off. But yeah, for me, he's what we don't have. He's no nonsense. He's an upgrade on Højbjerg. For me,
100%.
he's the upgrade on Højbjerg.
Oh my God. I'm glad I was sitting down for that. I can't believe Ellie just agreed to say something not good about Højbjerg. Bloody hell, Ellie. What? You've been drinking over the holidays.
Yeah, Højbjerg, right, he's a good player, but he's nowhere near Paulinho. I can say that safely.
I was nervous. I was nervous to mention it with Ellie on the show, but she agreed straight away.
I can tell that you're shaking.
Is just that. Oh my God! You know what I mean? He's like a god of a number 6 role. You know, if you're teaching a kid from a young age how to play a number 6 role, just watch Paulinho. Fantastic.
And this is the thing. This is the thing, right? If you look at Declan Rice when he came through at West Ham, they had Mark Noble. Mark Noble wore the T-shirt, Mr. West Ham, and they said to Declan Rice, just watch how this guy, captain, just watch how this guy conducts himself. And then slowly but surely, Declan Rice took the mantle and took the armband on. And that's what, whether it's Archie Gray or whoever, but you should be saying to these young players, just watch Paulinho. Whether he's there for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, just watch him and take a leaf out of his book.
No, for sure. Guys, honestly, I'm with you all. I love Paulinho. I think he's absolutely top tier. That's the sort of player you want in your team to win championships with. 100% for me. Right, I will move on to a bigger question now that we've got through the team. Okay, so here it is. Do you see light at the end of the tunnel for Frank? So if you handpicked from certain games this season, do you see a bigger overall picture? Do you see a style of play that we're eventually going to get to? So I suppose, yeah, again, what I'm asking is, do you see light at the end of the tunnel for Frank, or do you think he's probably going to get the chop at some point, possibly end of the season? Mia, I'll come to you first. Go on.
I think if we continue the way we are, then I think he will be going in the summer, because I don't see a plan when we're playing. I don't see when we're going forward any sort of patterns of play. I don't see what kind of team he wishes us to be. And he's now had a bit more time with the boys on the training pitch, and I still can't see what we're supposed to be doing as a plan on that pitch, and I think that's really concerning. And I know people are going to say he hasn't had long and blah blah, but with Conte we knew, with Jose we knew, even with Ange we knew what his vision was. And as a manager, that's your job to have that vision and to then produce it on the pitch. And I just don't see it with Frank. I also don't think Frank's very inspiring. Like, I don't get that vibe from him that he's someone that can really inspire the players. And I think
not a leader of men.
No, he's more like maybe a leader of like 5-year-olds. Maybe like they would listen to him.
Come
Like,
on.
like, I'm sorry, but he just hasn't got that thing about him. He hasn't got that, like, listen, like when someone talks and you listen, you're like, oh my God, and you're captivated by them. You don't have to be like someone who gets angry at it, but you just got to captivate the players in order to get what you want through to them. And I just don't see that happening. And on the pitch, we can see that's not the case either, because he's saying one thing, like he doesn't want to play that way, but the players aren't playing that. Well, mate, you need to sort out the way you're obviously expressing it, because you're the manager, you're the one in charge. If you don't get the best, whoever manages in whatever job, if it's your job to be the team leader and get the best out of those people, to get the best work out of them, that's a you job. You've got to make sure that you get across in the best way possible to make sure they understand fully what you expect of them. And he just doesn't seem like he does.
Well, no, I can agree to a point. I mean, first off, I want to drink. Just because our manager looks like a lesbian doesn't mean he's not good at his job, all right? It's just, look, last year for me, when we had Ange, massive man motivator, we were crying out for someone who was adaptable and a tactician. And now we've got that. Now we want a man manager again. I just, like, where are we going? What sort of manager do we want?
Can I just say, for clarity, I didn't ever want Frank. I always was a bit concerned, and I didn't also want to get rid of Anne. So I haven't gone back on anything that I've actually said about Frank.
No, I'm not saying, and that's fair enough. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you, and I'll keep it quiet. I also liked Ange. I liked his style, but I better not say that too loud in case I get in trouble. Ellie, what are your thoughts?
Frank, for me, right, he's come into a squad of players who finished 17th, right? So they were down in terms of league performance, but they were on a high from the Europa Cup win, right? And we're stuck in the middle, right? We're stuck in the middle. We're not good, we're not bad, we're average.
Okay.
Average, and that's where we are in the league, average, 11th, right? So he hasn't risen our game, right? And what I don't like is he's a very pragmatic man. When he speaks, he's very intelligent, pragmatic. He says he's going to do this, that, and the other. And then when you see on the pitch, you don't see what he's trying to implement. Like Mia says, I don't see any progression, right? And I know some people say, we've got more or less the same thing, but we added 4 players for him, right? Moani was out for a while, but we added Xavi, Kudos, and bloody forgotten the other one, right? That's how bad it is when you forget the players that you brought in. But yeah. I just find him too pragmatic in the way he speaks. He's too methodical. He doesn't excite me. If somebody doesn't excite me, I was a footballer, right? My manager was animated and he excited.
Els, can I pause you for a millisecond? I'm so sorry, my door is going. I will be right back. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll carry on talking anyway, right? And I just find that he doesn't excite me as when I'm listening to his press conferences. They don't inspire me. Like Mia says, he's not an inspirational manager. You know, when I watch Pep, he's inspirational. When I watch Unai Emery, he's inspirational. You can see he's animated on the side of the pitch. Yeah? All these winners, they're winners, right? And I know Frank hasn't won anything, right? But I'm not judging him on that. I'm just saying he doesn't inspire me. Over to you. To you, Matt. Because
can I just say one more thing, right? Do you know what else actually Ellie, is
Yeah.
that for me, I think he was very comfortable at Brentford. He never pushed himself to try sooner to try and be that winner. And I think that's a bit concerning. Like, why did he was so comfortable instead of pushing himself? And I think with other managers that we see, they go to different places and push themselves to try and do better. And Frank's not that. He's a bit of a comfortable.
He's a steady Eddie, isn't he? He's a steady Eddie. He doesn't push himself. And also, other teams didn't really want to put him as their manager. Did you see any other big clubs going in for him? I didn't.
No, that's it. Anyway, let Matt say sorry because we've been taken over.
No,
Yeah.
Right, just quickly, guys. I'm so sorry, Dan. That was not funny at all. Thank you very much for doing that. I don't know if anyone else could see what he just did, but that wasn't funny. Like, I need that stress, mate. Cheers. But thank you. I don't know. Did you guys see that?
No.
Yes.
Oh,
He basically broke his YouTube virginity. We had to break something, didn't he? So.
Do you know what? Like, it's so nerve-wracking. Like, when you host for the first time, honestly, it's horrendous. Right, guys, I'm sorry.
You're doing a grand job, man. You're doing a grand job.
Bless you. It's tough. Guys, where were we at? I'm sorry, I did have to.
Well,
He's on Thomas Frank.
And
Yes.
we've got to talk. Matt hasn't said his opinion yet,
Okay,
so
okay.
No, Ellie, just finish off what you were saying so that Ben can hear that, and then I'll jump in.
I was just saying that he doesn't inspire me, and no other team has come in for him before. When he was doing even better at Brentford, right, in other seasons, he'd done better than last season. He was a bit higher up as well. Nobody came in for him. So I just find that strange. And then we give him the job, and I just don't find him. I think he's like a school teacher, you know?
It's not the first time I've heard that, Els. It's not.
Honestly, I say it all the time in the WhatsApp groups. He reminds me of a college professor or school teacher.
No, it reminds me of an art teacher because he dresses a bit like an art teacher. You know, they all dress really a bit strange.
Wasn't Ange called the PE teacher? Didn't some of the YouTubers call him a PE teacher?
Yeah, now we've got the art teacher.
No, you're right. A manager should turn up in full combat gear. You're absolutely right. Guys, come on. What are we doing here? We're judging our manager off how he looks. Oh, my God. Look, I'll say this much.
I didn't care about his looks. I just said about his dress sense that he reminds me a bit like an art teacher, like that vibe, if you get what I mean. Like a bit quirky.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, he's not got the most manliest of voices either. But, you know, look, I do. For me personally, I do see light at the end of the tunnel with Frank. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of different opinions. I can tell you that much. But Matty, what are you saying, buddy? Do you see light at the end of the tunnel with Thomas Frank?
Do you mean will he survive? Is that your question, or when you say light at the end of the tunnel?
Do you see things moving forward with him? Like, because I feel like you can get past this transitional stage where it's like, okay, maybe give him some time. Things aren't going great. Things aren't going to go great straight away. But can you see light at the end of the tunnel? Do you see a world where things start moving forward and the team starts to progress?
I hope so. I genuinely hope so, because I think Frank, you can see he's a nice guy. Do you know what I mean? He's a genuinely nice guy. And I've known managers that aren't nice people. You know, they'll sell you as much as they can look at you. So I think Frank is genuinely a nice guy. I think this is all going to be determined by results, and I can't get away from the 1 win in 8. And I think unless that improves, I think it's now 2 wins in 9. I think he's got to start getting a few more wins quickly because the manager who we no longer can mention, we can no longer mention.
You can on this show, mate. You go right ahead.
Can we? Are we?
Absolutely, you are allowed here.
Okay. I thought we couldn't mention or talk about like results or anything like that anymore.
You go right ahead, mate. You knock yourself out.
Okay. Right. So I think with Ange, as kamikaze and as stubborn and as pig-headed as he was, he had a reasonably good start to his reign. So that's why some of the fan base kind of piggybacked off that. You know, he won a couple of manager of the months and whatever else. So you can
He won
see
3
where
on the
some.
row, by the way.
Pardon?
He won 3 managers of the month in a row. And he broke a
So-
Premiership record, 26 out of 28 points.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Was it 3? I thought it was 2.
And then he only got 12 in the rest of the games.
I figure.
Yeah, so I think that's why some of the fans gave Ange a little bit more rope, because you could say foolishly they kept thinking that we were going to get back to that like form, which never came in the league. I think also there was a bit of a sympathy because our greatest goal scorer since Jimmy Greaves was sold the week of the Premier League season started. And it's interesting that YouTubers are now talking about we've lost 80 GA with Son and Maddison and Kulu and Solanke. But when people use the fact that Ange lost Harry Kane the week of the season starting in his first season, the argument back was he never had Harry Kane. Well, Frank's never had, barring Solanke for 20 minutes, Frank's never had Son in any league games. He's never had Maddison in any league games. He's never had Kulusevski in any league games.
No.
So I think that's why some of the fans have never quite bought into Frank's style at the moment, because we've got nothing to put our peg on. He hasn't given us anything yet. And yes, 5 months is a short window, but when have we had 2 games on the bounce where you've gone, get it? I get what he's doing. You know, there's been nothing that we can cling to at the moment. Now, okay, give him time and give him transfer windows, but surely we should be looking better than what we are. Surely, and if you look at clubs like Sunderland, then some of them players have never played in the Premier League before.
Yeah.
And look how Sunderland are performing. You can see the identity of Sunderland. They're aggressive. They're in your faces. They compete for every first ball. They compete for every second ball. What is our style of play at the moment?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. Do you know what, right? I'll say this much for Thomas Frank. I personally do see light at the end of the tunnel for him. I feel like eventually something is going to click. Look at Mauricio Pochettino, right? 19 wins, 7 draws, and 12 losses in his first season. I mean, judging by how things are going at the moment, Frank might be slightly worse than that. Who knows? He might be slightly better. But I'll say this. The big defining difference between him and Poch, because both of them never won anything, by the way. I want to throw that out there. That's a huge thing. Because I'm seeing Frank's got nothing in the bank.
Hold on, and what did Poch win us? And what did Poch win us? Nothing still. So he still didn't win us nothing.
It's very true. But at the end of the day,
that's what
I will say this for Mauricio Pochettino and Frank. Poch had something Frank didn't. And that's a Harry Kane scoring 31 goals in that first season for him, which I think is huge. And it's something Frank does not have. But the point I'm trying to make is Poch was given time and things turned around. And look, for me personally, he was my favourite Spurs manager of all time, bar none. So I'm just saying, I feel like the guy needs time. Now, would you guys say that's a fair statement or no?
I think, you know what it is with Poch, right? For me, this is my own personal opinion, how I felt about him, right?
Yeah.
He didn't win us anything, but the football, I loved watching the football. The football was beautiful, right? They didn't win us anything, but he took us to a higher echelon. Like, he took us second in the league, third in the league, right? And we've never finished that high for yonks, right? And he made us credible, and we got a bit of respect from other fans, right? But we didn't win anything. We didn't get over the line. He made errors, right? And some like to romance about it, right? I just like the football. I'm just purely on the football, not the romance, not bringing back. No, I like the football, the style of football he played. But he had much better footballers, right? He did. And he coached them really well. and the pressing. They weren't just good footballers technically. They were very, very hard-working, pressing footballers, you know, who were eager to win that ball back as well. And then we had the flair players, and then we had Harry Kane finishing and Sonny finishing. So he had a lot more to work with, right? And he honed that team, right? But he still didn't get anywhere. So when you say about Frank, he's on to a loser at the moment until he gets his own players. So we got to give him time. You have to. But I think he needs to play more exciting football as well for the fans. You know, like get players that can get on the ball, are technical, you know, and really play well. You know,
Yeah, but
because he had
Ellie, can I just say, right, at Brentford, whilst they had some decent players, he never played that type of football really at Brentford. So I don't think he's going to change now. That's my problem with him. He isn't a manager that is,
side, you mean?
yeah, he isn't a manager to play that kind of football. And there lies your problem, because I don't think if that football's winning, I think people will be on board with it. But he's not winning. So if he keeps playing this kind of football, even with better players, people aren't going to be happy if they're not winning, because it's all about, if we're going to be winning games playing
Of
that football,
course.
it's
You've got to play.
acceptable.
You've got to play
Like,
well,
that's the
really
thing.
exciting football, but win as well.
That's
Right?
it.
Of course. But I get your point about his pragmatic style, because I was having a chat with Philly Phil about it. He is a very pragmatic manager, even though they scored 63 goals last season, Brentford. So that's no mean return. But remember, he had Mbomo and Vissa firing on all cylinders. So we need to get in better players. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And can
yeah.
I just also say that Brentford are still playing pretty damn well, and they're doing well without Frank. So is it the way that Brentford are run, or was it that Frank actually did good with those players? That's the other question you've got to sort of ask as well.
Brentford are above us. So,
Exactly.
Yeah,
There we go.
I think Mia, what you've just said there is a good question, and I think this is really useful to be objective, because I'm not calling for Frank to be sacked. I'm not saying that at all. But I think that it's become so polarized at Tottenham at the moment that it feels like you've got people who want you to be in one camp or the other, apart from instead of being just kind of critical. You know, you can be critical without saying that means Frank has to be sacked. Just like people were critical of Ange last season, we can still observe the manager of our football club and say what he's doing well and what he's not doing well. Now, what you just said earlier makes me think about Graham Potter at Brighton. And Brighton, as a football machine, was run so well that whether it's De Zerbi, whether it's Potter, whether it's I can't remember the guy who's in charge now, the young guy, the German guy.
Hasler? Is it Hasler? Something similar to that.
Yeah.
Hasler?
Yeah. So it seems that Brighton still play a similar way. They still play they still get similar results. So you wonder with Brentford, Dean Smith, don't forget, brought in Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank was the number 2 to Dean Smith. Dean Smith then gets the Aston Villa job. Frank then becomes the manager. The machine continues to run. Frank then gets Brentford promoted. Kudos to him. Well done for that. Now Thomas Frank has got the job at Tottenham, and then the number 2 to Thomas Frank is doing a similar job. So I've got to give Thomas Frank credit for what he's done at Brentford, but is it all Thomas Frank? Because if you look at Brentford before, they still signed similar players. They still played a similar way. Now Thomas Frank's left. They still go after the similar type of players, and they still play and get similar results. So it's a results business, and I just think that the moment you give any analytical appraisal of Frank, people go, "You want Frank out." He's won 2 games in 9.
Do you know what? To be fair, People
Yeah.
do seem to be either on the right hand side of the fence, or the other one, because it seems to be you've got a certain set of fans that are don't criticise Frank, he's done nothing wrong, or you've got fuck Frank, he needs to go, he's shit. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground with it, and you know
Exactly.
what? I totally agree with
That's
you. I
what
feel the
they're
same
like
way.
as a fan base as well.
But you know what that partly is down to, Benji, is because basically people who wanted Ange in obviously are refusing to accept Frank, and then there's people who wanted Ange out so much and wanted Frank so much they want to be proven correct. So there's like the lack of kind of nuance in it, and that's the thing. And I'm not saying I want Frank out actually, and that's the thing. I can criticise him and say this and this and this about him. These are my feelings about him, but at the end of the day, I still think he needs to have a bit more time to be seen what he can, if he can turn it around and change it. So I am able to be critical. I was critical of Ange and some with his substitutions when he messed about with it too much for the cup games. I didn't like it and I criticised him. So I do criticise equally. But what happens now is people are just so extremist with it. They're either one way, like I say, because they want to be proven right about Frank, or they hate Frank because they loved Ange so much. It's weird. Like, I don't understand it, because at the end of the day, I want what's best for Tottenham. I want what's best for Spurs. I don't give a damn about managers or players. They come, they go, whatever, right? I want what's best for my bloody club. And if I think it's not what's best for the club, I will speak up and say, I don't believe it's best for the club. And I think that's all it is. In my heart, all I want to do is for Tottenham to do the best that we could possibly do. And in my eyes, for me personally, that is to aim to win, because that's the part of the game, is to win. So I want to go into cups games and look at them to win those games. That's what I want. That's me personally. That's just my point of view. But the fact is, all I want is what's best for Tottenham. I don't give a damn about Frank. I don't give a damn about Ange. Like, in that way.
And
you know,
that's the point. Sorry. I was going to say, Benji, that's the point, Mia, as well. To answer your question, Benj, light at the end of the tunnel to where? So if we finish 9th in the Premier League, get knocked out by Aston Villa in the third round of the FA Cup, go to the playoffs in the Champions League, and the season finishes, is that light?
For me, being no, I've got you. I get your question. For me, it's being competitive again, being up there, being in there and abouts, being inside the top 4 again, being competitive in the Champions League, getting back into the Champions League regularly. That's where I want to see us. So for me, that's what I'm hoping for. But what I'm going to do is,
so if they finish 9th, then what would you class that? Say the season finishes, and we finish
this season alone, I've written it off. I read it off when he came in. I didn't expect too much more than what we're seeing now. I said at the start of the season, things are going to get worse. I felt like we were getting lucky in the beginning, and I said things were going to get a bit worse. I can't see this, maintaining. So for me, wherever we finish the season, I hope it's within inside the top 10. I feel like we're a good enough team to do so. Look, like I said, for me, light of the tunnel is just being competitive again. That's what I want to see from Tottenham. This season, I'm prepared to write it off. But aside from that, I think we can have these conversations about Frank next year. Right now, I feel it's a bit too premature. But look, what I'm going to do is...
Benji, what you got to ask yourself, why are we in football? We're not here just to be competitive. We're here to win. We're here to win trophies, right? That's my light at the tunnel. My light at the end of the tunnel is to have a trophy, right? It might not happen every season, but I want to win trophies, right? Because that's currency, right? When you win trophies, you elevate your club, right? And you attract better players, right? So that's my light at the end of the tunnel, to be not just be competitive, but to win trophies. That's my goal. As a fan, I want us to win trophies so that we can compete with the big boys when it comes to the summer transfer windows and the January transfer windows. We're in the picture, for clubs. Because if you're a winning club, players want to join you.
100%.
Yeah, man, damn right.
agree more.
I don't understand this thing, right? Is when people say, Ellie, we want to get back to being top four. Listen, when we had Poch, everyone said we need to win something. That don't go down in history books that we were second and third. No one's going to remember that. They remember the person that was the top of the tree, and the person that wins the cups is the ones that they count. What do we count when we see who's the biggest teams? Their trophy count. So for me, this is a mad take, and I know I'm going to get hate for it. I would rather finish 10th for 10 seasons and win 5 cups, because to me it's about those trophies. I want more parades like this year's one, because mate, that was epic. I want more. I want more of that.
Sure. It was a thing of beauty. Look, I'll tell you what we do, guys. We've got a question here from Lynn. We'll go through this and then we'll wrap up, I think. So Lynn says, for the question for the panel, if the board are not prepared to spend money, would you blame the board or Frank? Well, have I read that right? Yeah. For me, I mean, well, if they're not prepared to spend money, then surely it's going to be on the board, right? I mean, you can't. I mean, I will just say at Brentford, Frank operated on a shoestring. You think Levy's bad? Holy shit! They had nothing at Brentford. Their transfer budget was like next to bloody zero. But yeah, I mean, listen, if the board aren't prepared to give Frank the money and back him, which from everything they've said, for all intensive purposes, I think they will. I hope they will, because the quality of player that Frank's brought in so far, I think, is pretty good. I'm happy with Kudus. I'm happy with Xavi, despite the fact that he's not hit the ground running. And I'm happy with Paulinho. And Mawani, again, I think that was just a panic buy, if I'm honest with you. But again, you can see he is a quality player. You know, he's not this rinky-tink 19-year-old that is a could-be player. You know, he's got a little bit of pedigree. So, you know, I hope the board back him. But if they don't, I'm sorry, that's on the board. That's got nothing to do with Frank personally. But I don't know how you guys see it.
It's a bit of a hypothetical question, because the board will spend money, right? So if they don't spend money, then obviously it's on them, isn't it? So, you know, because you're not helping the manager get better players in to improve the squad. So, yeah, it's all on the board. You can't blame the manager for that.
Yeah, no, of course. The manager don't get a say in what's spent. He just gets a say, I believe, in they say, do you want A, B or C player? Which one do you want? So, yeah, of course, it's on the board to spend that money. And then it'll be on Frank to do the best with what the player that obviously he chooses out of those A, B or C players and the rest of the team. So, yeah, of course, the board are responsible for the buy-in. So it would be on them.
Right, take us home then. Well, what are you saying, Matty? Do you think it's the board? Would it be the board's fault or Thomas Frank? Who would you blame?
I think it's definitely the board, because they've released statements to say that we want to be competitive in all competitions. You know, we want to bring success to the football part of Tottenham. So they've left nothing to imagination. They've explained exactly what their intentions are. So the proof is in the pudding. My only challenge with all of that is the structure of how they're going to do this. Are they going to do it and sign players 2 days before the end of the transfer window? Or are they going to, the moment the transfer window opens in 2 days' time, are we going to actually move quickly, look at the targets? Because you would hope we've done all the groundwork.
We've already done that, yeah, hopefully.
We've done all the groundwork. Are you interested? What type of money you're looking at? X, Y, and Z. So they've sold the dream to the players previously to January the 1st. So I'll reserve judgment until the end of the transfer window, but I don't want any more January 31st at 9:45 putting on Sky Sports News to see who's coming through the gates at Tottenham.
Yeah.
We need to move. We need to move quickly. Stop pissing about over 5 million. If that's a player we need, go and get him.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And
well, you cut out there. I'll say that again. Oh, I think we've lost her. Anyway, I'll tell you what I'll do.
That's the most sense she's ever made.
Guys, what I will do is I'm going to wrap it up there. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much to all my guests for coming on and bailing my ass out. This is my first time, so it's been super nerve-wracking, and everyone that stuck around, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Mia, where can we find you on YouTube?
Over at Tottenham's Lone Wolf. I've just hit my 100. I'm on 109 or 8 now, so yeah.
Okay. Els, where can we find you? I don't think she's back, is she? No. Okay. Oh, bless her. She's gone. Okay. And what about yourself, mate? Where can we see you next?
Yeah, I don't have.
You'll be back on here, mate. Don't worry about it, son. You've been great.
Is it? Are you kind of? Are you doing this more often now? Or are you? Were you the number 2, or what are you doing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I am number 2. Unfortunately,
Did you just call him a number 2?
I am number 2.
You're number 2, yeah? Cool.
Yeah. I bless Dan for letting me do this.
I'll rephrase that.
Yeah, mate. Oh no, hang on. Danny's come into the show. Here he is.
Oh.
And
he's got no camera.
All right, we'll bring him back in a minute for sure. Oh no. What's he doing? This is not the way I wanted to end the show. It was supposed to be nice and smooth and crisp. Anywho, again, thank you for sticking around and watching. And come on, you Spurs. Take care, guys.
Smash the like button for Benji.
Take it down.